And now, the burial ceremony for slain human rights advocate Willie Kimani is currently underway in Kikuyu. Leaders who have spoken so far have called for speedy investigations and the prosecution of police officers suspected of having been involved in the killing of Kimani, his client Josephat Mwenda, and taxi driver Joseph Muiruri. Our reporter Timothy Otieno has been following the events at the burial and now joins us live from there. Timothy, good afternoon. Bring us up to date with what's going on there.
Well, Michelle, of course, the burial service for Willie Kimani has begun here in Kikuyu town, Kiambu County. And Michelle, it's often said that the number of people who attend your burial could highly reflect the number of lives you've touched. And if that is anything to go by, then Willie Kimani is a man who touched many lives just by the number of the people who have presented themselves here at his ancestral home, where a burial ceremony is currently going on. Michelle, it's a service that of course has drawn a lot of attention, the nationwide attention in it, because of the manner in which Willie Kimani was abducted alongside two others, and how his body was found later on in the week, about a week later after they disappeared. So a sizable crowd has since gathered here at the Kiambu home. We have been able to see many of political entities, including the Kiambu Senator himself, Paul Kimani, who is representing the county government in this battle. We've been able to spot Moses Kuria as well, who is the Gatundu South Member of Parliament, as well as the President of the Law Society of Kenya, Mr. Isaac Okero, who also is here to send his final farewell to Willie Kimani. It's the end of the journey for Willie Kimani, but many here say it's not over for the advocacy that he stood for. And if you just look at this resume that Willie Kimani had, you could understand the kind of a lawyer he was. Having graduated from the University of Nairobi in 2009, he immediately joined human rights groups, including the Women Rights Awareness Program back in 2010, and then later on joined the Release Political Prisoners Organization, before moving on to join IMLU, the independent medical legal organization that fights for the rights fights for human rights, as well as those who have undergone abuse and trauma. In 2013, he did join the IPOA, the Independent Police Oversight Authority, that was newly formed as an investigator to follow up on cases that had been reported of police abuses. And then later on, last year in February, went on to join the International Justice Mission, where he was a field investigator up to the time of his death. He's been described as a man who stood with the clients who came to report issues of police abuse and human rights abuses, and stood with them till the very end, reminiscent of the particular case in which he lost his life alongside his client Josephat Mwenda, who will be buried on Monday, as well as Joseph Muiruri, the taxi driver, who is also being buried today, Michelle.
All right, and Timothy, this murder has been highly politicized, especially by members of the opposition. Do we have any of them there, or any political leaders at all?
Well, the political leaders that we've been able to spot here is, of course, the Kiambu Senator Paul Kimani, as well as Moses Kuria, the Gatundu South Member of Parliament. Those are the only two politicians we've been able to spot so far. But of course, it's a high-profile delegation, high-profile crowd here. We've been able to see senior members of the judiciary, including Senior Counsel Paul Mwite, the President of the Law Society of Kenya, Isaac Okero, as well as the CEO of the International Justice Mission, where Willie Kimani worked as a field investigator. The tributes are yet to be given. Right now, a small requiem mass is going on here. There is a clergy who is leading the service before we move on to the speeches by the family members, his colleagues, as well as friends who have come to bid farewell to Willie Kimani, an advocate who was abducted on the 23rd of June, and his body later on found on the 1st of July this year, Michelle.
All right, thank you very much. That is our reporter Timothy Otieno reporting from Kikuyu.